You won't believe what he asked for before he died. In the final days of his life, as the world unknowingly inched closer to losing a legend, Ozzy Osbourne, the godfather of heavy metal, the voice of a generation, had one last request. Not for more time. Not for peace. But for one final roar. This wasn't a man begging for a miracle. This was a storm asking for thunder. A dying legend who refused to leave in silence. His body? Failing. His strength? Almost gone. But his fire? Untouched. Still crackling. Still alive. And that fire whispered one last dream into the ear of the only person who truly knew him, Sharon. Their home was quiet. Out in the countryside, time felt frozen. Curtains moved with the summer breeze, but inside that house, it was like the world had pressed pause. Ozzy, now 76, no longer roared the way he used to. Parkinson's had robbed him of motion, of ease, of the little things, lifting a spoon, holding a pen. But it never touched his soul. Each morning he asked for the same two things, tea, and Sharon. They would sit for hours. Sometimes in silence. Sometimes lost in the past. He drifted freely between memories, childhood fights in the grimy streets of Aston, the hunger, the cold, the chaos. His first gig, terrified and under-rehearsed. The early days with Tony, Geezer, and Bill, the brothers who helped him build a revolution. Then, he'd speak of his kids. Of Kelly, fiery and brave. Jack, always steady. Amy, quiet and strong. His grandkids. And then came that moment. The one Sharon would never forget. It was late June. Sunlight was melting into the trees outside. And in a moment of sudden clarity, Ozzy turned to her and whispered, "I don't want them to remember the man in the wheelchair. I don't want to be their sadness. I want to give them one last roar. One last performance. In Birmingham. Where it all began." It wasn't a request. It was a vow. He wanted his life to end the way it began, with music, with madness, with a scream loud enough to break the sky. Sharon didn't cry. She nodded. And she began to move mountains. Doctors said it was impossible. Managers warned it was too risky. Even Ozzy, in his lowest moments, begged her to stop. "Don't make me a fool," he rasped. But she wouldn't budge. "You're not done. Not until the music stops." Because she knew. This wasn't about fame. This was about legacy. This was a man trying to choose his final note. Behind closed doors, she worked. She called in favors. She begged doctors for clearance. She whispered to old friends. Could he walk? No. Could he sing like before? Probably not. But could he be Ozzy one last time? That was enough. She found the venue, Villa Park. She chose the date, July 5th. She made calls. To Tony Iommi. Geezer Butler. Bill Ward. Then to Metallica. Guns N' Roses. Judas Priest. If he was going out, he wasn't going alone. He was going out with a choir of legends. She called it back to the beginning. Meanwhile, the city was preparing something of its own. Without knowing it, Birmingham was already rising to honor its son. They called it the Summer of Sabbath. Street murals, school programs, playlists on loop, statues. A bridge was renamed the Osbourne Bridge. A bronze figure of Ozzy, arms raised, immortalized in mid-performance. And fans? They came in droves. From Brazil, Japan, America. Tattooed arms. Leather jackets. Old records. Young hearts. Some didn't even have tickets, they just wanted to be close. They had no idea what was coming. And then the night arrived. July 5th, 2025. A sea of 40,000 people packed Villa Park. The stage glowed. The air buzzed. People wept before the music even began. It felt holy. Like something bigger than music was about to happen. And then it did. The lights dimmed. The curtain lifted. And there he was. Ozzy Osbourne. Not walking. Seated. Proud. Draped in black, eyes blazing, on a throne of steel. Carried to the stage like a king returning home. And without a word, he raised the mic. "Mama, I'm coming home." The stadium shattered. His voice wasn't flawless. But it didn't need to be. Every crack, every breath, every note meant something. It wasn't a performance. It was a goodbye wrapped in thunder. Then came Crazy Train. That iconic riff. That opening yell. And that small smile. The one that said, "This is who I am. This is where I belong." No long speech. No fake drama. Just music. Just magic. Just Ozzy. 17 days later, he was gone. July 22nd, 2025. His final breath. Peaceful. Surrounded by his children. Sharon holding his hand. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. She could see it in his eyes. "I'm home. I'm free." The world was not ready. The moment the news hit, everything stopped. Phones lit up. Radios paused. Tears spilled. Fans played his music loud. Some just sat in stunned silence, like a piece of their youth had just died. The tributes came in tidal waves. Elton John posted a photo from backstage in the 80s. A rebel poet in leather and eyeliner. "The world feels colder today." Paul McCartney said it best, "Legends don't die. They echo." Even the Vatican spoke. His passion touched the soul of humanity. Cities held vigils. Murals were painted. 1,000 voices in Sao Paulo sang "Mama, I'm coming home" in Portuguese. In Tokyo, giant screens flashed his face. In LA, Sunset Boulevard was shut down for a candlelit tribute. And yet, nothing hit as hard as what Sharon said 3 days later. She sat beneath a soft light, holding the wedding ring he gave her over 40 years ago. She looked at the camera and said, "He didn't just want to live forever. He wanted to matter forever." And he does. He gave everything, even when he had nothing left to give. Ozzy Osbourne's legacy is more than music. It's resilience. It's screaming into the dark and daring it to scream back. It's showing up broken and still choosing to be loud. He was chaos wrapped in eyeliner. Pain wrapped in power. And that final show? That wasn't a farewell. It was a resurrection. A man who'd been to hell and back saying, "This is who I am." Don't ever forget it. So if you're watching this, and you've ever felt like you didn't belong, if you've ever blasted Crazy Train on a terrible day, if you've ever found yourself in lyrics that sound like your own chaos, then honor him the way he would have wanted. Not with silence. With volume. Turn it up. Scream the lyrics. Wear the shirt. Play the record again. Because Ozzy didn't die in the dark. He left in thunder. And now, he's everywhere. In our speakers. In our memories. In every rebel who still believes music can save a soul. Thank you, Ozzy. Thank you for the madness. Thank you for the music. Thank you for one last roar. And if this story moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below sharing your favorite Ozzy moment. Because legends, they don't disappear. They echo. Forever.